Right, you touched on kit briefly, when we were talking about the approach at the very start of it. If I was new to the sport and I wanted to have a go at commercial feeder bomb fishing and I could only afford one rod, forget about the price for a minute, but what length, in your opinion, suits most situations?
Right, I personally, I love 10 and 11 foot rods. Some people like 9 foot rods, but me personally, I prefer a 10 foot for up to 30 yard and 11 foot for above 30 yard.
Okay.
So if you're going for a 10 or 11 foot, you won't usually go far wrong. So if I come to a place like Lindholm with all this, a 10 foot will be perfect. But if I went somewhere where it's wider, then you want the 11 foot. So a 10 or 11 foot, you won't really go far wrong.
Now these are fairly small waters,
yeah.
So why not a 9 foot? What's
Nothing wrong with 9
foot?
foot. I know people that love 9 foot. I prefer 10 foot. It's just a personal thing.
Right.
Some people prefer 9 foots. It's a really personal thing. But I think with 10 foot, I've got more variety with it. I can cast it a bit further. Right. I feel more comfortable with a 10 foot.
And have you got, or in your opinion, is there one rod that you would use all year through? I mean, we're into a colder spell now. The fish are not going to fight so hard. They're likely to be smaller.
Yeah.
Is there a rod that would serve all purpose?
well, I love these marvellous 10 foot light carps. For me, I just use them for everything.
Right.
I just love them.
And is that capable of dealing with a 14 pound?
Yeah, you can do. But if I was fishing for a fish that was bigger and I'd have a bigger hook on, then I would use the marvellous 10 foot carp. Marvellous 11 foot.
Right.
Just carp rod, just the normal carp. But if I'm fishing for a mixture of fish, I'd always use the light one. Okay. But if I'm going fishing for double figure fish, then I'd use the rod that's up, which is the marvellous carp.
Yeah, I mean, most rods nowadays, from any manufacturer, I mean, they're built to such a high standard nowadays that they can deal with quite a lot. I mean, I notice a lot of commercial fishery style rods, very nice through action, soft in the tip, but still powerful enough to land these fish.
I think you can get fishing quicker. I think you can get fishing quicker with a softer rod than you can a stiff rod.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that.
Because you use the bend of the rod.
But then it comes down to the way you play them as well, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
I see a lot of people with a rod up in the air trying to force the issue, and they lose them.
Yeah.
And I see the lads that know what they're doing with the tips down, guiding the fish slowly and easily.
Well, the idea is quite simple. Let the fish swim. And if it swims, once you get it swimming towards you, you can just wind, and that's why the reel is really important, so you can wind against the fish.
Okay, so let's talk about reels then. So your choice, a 10 foot or an 11 foot?
Yeah.
But for anybody coming into it, what is an average size reel?
Right, it balances with the rod. So if I'm using a 9, a 10 or maybe 11, I'd use a 4,000 size reel, because that's balanced with the rod. But if I was going for a 12 and a 13 foot, I'd want a 5,000 size reel.
Right. But so ensure the reel balances with
the rod.
Yeah.
But what I'm looking for is in a reel is one that when I'm playing the fish, I can just wind. I'm not going like that. I'm pumping and winding. I'm looking for a reel that I can just go like that and wind through the rod rings while it's swimming towards me, so I can get it in quicker. So I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So I can just go like that and wind through the rod rings, that's why I use the marvellous reels, because the gearing allows me to just wind against the fish, and then I can wind it, and if it keeps swimming towards me, I can lift it up, net it straight. But you can't do that with some.
Just jumping back to the rod very quickly, is the tip important? I mean, I notice a lot of quiver tip rods now. Well, we know a lot of quiver tip rods or feeder rods as such come with maybe 1, 2 or 3 different tip
That's
ratings.
Right, yeah.
Do you change the tip rating for the colder months at all?
Well, I think when you buy a rod, it don't matter which rod it is, and it don't matter what strength of rod it is, there'll be one tip that you get that is balanced to that rod. It's usually the middle one. And the others, for me, I think they're just spares really. I would sooner have 3 tips of the same, right? Personally, because I think there's one tip that is balanced ideally to the rod. So when I use these marvellous range of rods, I just pronounce tipping.
Yeah.
I just put I don't use anything else.
And that stays in all year?
Sorry, in the light carp, I put an ounce in. In the normal carp, I put an ounce and a half in.
Right.
And I just think that balance of the rod, absolutely perfect.
Right.
And
you fish that summer, winter?
Yeah, summer, winter, don't make it, because
Yeah.
the bites are, they're good bites. They hook themselves anyway. But I believe that with every rod you get, there'll be one tip that is balanced to that rod. It's surely the middle one.
I asked the question purely from the point of view of what you said earlier about from a match fishing scenario where you're faced with the water where you've got F1s and carp.
Yeah.
Carp can be quite savage, F1s can be quite picky.
Not a tip,
make
no.
a difference? No?
No, it's quite weird. One of the things that always amazes me with F1s is when you fish the pole, you dot it down and you're looking for that, and on the tip they pull the rod in.
Right.
The bites are
so it doesn't make
no
a difference.
So it makes no difference.
Right. Okay.
I mean, I know lots of anglers who might put a 2 ounce tip in because they think that it hooks itself, but I don't think so. Because one of my things I'm looking for at the same time as the bites is liners and indications.
Yeah. Coming better off a lighter tip.
So I can get the balance right. So that's why I think an ounce tip is nice.
Yeah.
I'm looking for liners and indications to try and find out where the fish are in my peg.
Okay.
And that's really important to me. That's a massive part of my fishing. That is, I'm looking for the fish, especially at this time of the year in the winter, when it's all about location of fish, trying to find them in your peg. So the indications and liners that you get tell me where the fish are in the peg, and the type of liner that I'm getting.
Yeah.
Like as an example, if I cast in and my tip's giving that, I think the fish are at the feeder, bomb, whatever you're using, around that area. But if it goes like that slow and then comes back, it tells me the fish are here.
Further back. And
they're further
going
back,
through the line
so I can
slowly.
cast in slowly.
Yeah.
So I can cast in shorter.
Yeah.
And then if I'm not getting anything, I will cast somewhere else.
Yeah.
Until I cast in and I get a few indications, and then I'm quite happy then.
Right.
So
it's all about finding out where they are as well.
Location, fish location.
Yeah. And that can apply, obviously it does apply severely to match fishing.
Massive.
But that's something that the pleasure angler can also utilise.
100%.
Yeah.
You can in the winter you can come to a place, and sometimes you know where the fish are because you can see them topping. So that's obviously one way. But if you don't see any fish topping, sometimes you can spend an hour locating them. Cast over there, put it down. Because if you cast towards a ball of what we call a ball of fish, the shoal of fish, when it is about, you will get an indication almost straight away.
Yeah.
And then if you don't get any, wind in and cast it somewhere else. And the moment you get some kind of indication, that's where you fish.
Okay.
And the colder it is as well then, right, what happens is you might catch a couple of fish and then they back off. Because they don't want to really feed, but if there's something there, they'll pick it up. And then what you'll do, you'll cast another metre or around that spot. And that's one of the reasons I don't use a clip in the winter. So it gives me the chance of casting to the fish easier when I know where they are.
Okay. How key is mainline? I mean, I'm looking at that, and I mean...
Well, to be honest with you, it's one of the few things that's not as important as other things. What I mean by that, I put 028 Sublime on. That's all I use. Use it all year round.
Year through?
All year through. Don't matter if it's cold, warm, whatever. It makes no difference whatsoever.
Right. Because there's more importance on where you're fishing.
Correct. There's more important things than the line.
And the end tackle and the presentation.
The main line is not important. The hook length line is.
Yeah.
That makes a massive difference. But the main line don't make any difference at all.
Okay.
I mean, they're pulling the rod in, and when you get a bite.
Okay.
So
it's cold, but I mean, as you'll see from the filming light, I mean, the tip is just, to me, that looks like a summer bite.
Yeah, it's no different. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying about keeping the rod low, just keep it low. And it's look how it's swimming, and I'm just winding in now. I'm not doing it, but winding because it's swimming towards me. If I had the rod up, it'll stop like that. Hey, we've got a bit of relief on and all.
Right, we'll let Tom deal with this fish, and we'll let him have another cast, and we'll come back and have a look at the end tackle setups. We'll have a look at the differences between the presentations on bomb and feeder, and hopefully we'll catch a few more.